We are back in the shed of basketball truth, and he's here on the couch, one of the most energetic assistant coaches in the NBL1 North, Olly Reid.
Thanks, mate. That's a title. They should hand that out at the awards.
Well, hey, I'll have a chat to...
assistant, not best, just most energetic. I'll take that.
Look, you know, this is a very opinionated statement, best. I mean, what's the category? What are we going for?
Hanging fruit.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole. But look, thank you for joining us here in the studio. Absolute pleasure, of course, for Official Beer Company, and going out on the Podfire network as well as wherever else you get your amazing podcasts. We'll be there. But mate, you're here for a round of Crackem.
Absolutely.
At the end, local card shop of Woolloongabba, Crackem.
Yeah, love a Crackem. Get the cards out for sure.
And we've got some Panini Prisms to get it done when the time comes. But a lot going on in the basketball world, obviously, but we better hone it down a little bit. Let's start close to home. And great news today with it's now official. Sam McDaniel has officially re-signed with the Bullets.
He has.
And look, that's great to see after obviously the end to the Capitals season, the injury, the hope, the re-injury, but obviously looks like it's all going to work out for him.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And look, yeah, he's an amazing, great basketball player, but an amazing human as well. And I was fortunate enough, obviously, to spend a lot of time with him, rebounding like a Labrador for him a lot with his sessions there. So when we was getting some shots up and those sort of things and just being around that team, and he's just such a great competitor. And so, yeah, look, I'm really pleased for him because it's one of those things I know any player in a contract year who gets injured is always going to have trouble. There's always going to be some mental fatigue throughout the year and you're never always really too sure. And so, yeah, I'm really wrapped for him. I know I was able to catch up with him just prior to the Cairns game. And, you know, he was in really great spirits and I certainly, you know, you could certainly see a fair bit of light in the eyes still, so which is awesome to see. Yes. And
yeah, always positives, always up for a yarn. Just amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing human. So hopefully we see him back fighting fit and just tearing up the court.
Yeah.
I
think he's going to come at it, doubling it down on it, just knowing who he is, knowing his personality. Absolutely. You can't keep a man like that caged up for too long.
Certainly can't. All right. Now, we better start talking about you. I know there's been, some more NBL1 North, re-signings like Michaela Cairns going back to Logan.
Yep.
Nelson Kaler, obviously, back at Phoenix. There's Amy Brown back at Phoenix. There's been a few here there. Steph Bairstow sort of going back to it's a couple of time in between drinks, but going back to the pirate ship. There's been a few.
Our guy Ant re-signing.
Of course. That was really up in the air, that one.
One of the best rookie signings of the season, I think, in my opinion. So I'm happy to talk about everyone else before we talk about me. I'll tell you right now, Mel, I'm happy to delay the conversation about me as much as possible.
No worries. Well, with that in mind, where did your basketball journey begin?
Yeah, look, I always say this. I've reflected on this a while back, actually, and basketball found me. I didn't actually have any interest in basketball. It was a purely.
I feel like that sometimes too.
Yeah. It's funny because you would assume, obviously, just my obsession with it and my involvement in it for as many years as I have been now, and over half my life easily, from playing to coaching and administration and things like that in my role. But yeah, look, I was that kid. Unfortunately, my family life at the time didn't allow me to play a lot of junior sport really young, like everybody else, and we moved around. I went to a lot of different primary schools for a short period of time, and a really good friend of mine, I was just shooting in the backyard, that classic, shooting in the backyard with a friend after school on a Friday afternoon, and hey, our team's short tomorrow. Do you want to come and play? And just going in as a classic fill-in. And look, I was fortunate to be 5'10". I was quite a tall kid as an 11-year-old. So
I was going to say, what's short? Like, are we short in stature? Missing?
They were short. I think they were both. They were definitely shorter players that were tall, but I think they were very excited to have me turn up. But when I did get on the floor, I probably broke a record for the most amount of travels and live ball turnovers. I don't know we were covering that stat back then in the 80s, but definitely I would
possibly not at that level.
But a lot of live ball turnovers at that point. So yeah, so basketball found me. I had I was kicking soccer balls and that sort of stuff. So it's not a sport that I was dragged into.
We'll try not to hold that too much against you. I mean, at least in basketball, people die for a purpose.
This is true. So, this is true. This is true. I don't know. There's a few that do. Another NBL1 top 10 list we could put together.
Wow. Oh, look. Another pod, an entire other pod.
Absolutely.
Entire other
Absolutely.
pod. But, all right, well, what was your, when it came to your basketball career, playing, coolest moment? Highest level? Or,
yeah, look, I had some pretty amazing opportunities. I think playing at Box Hill Senior Secondary in its halcyon days, before there was the raft of basketball academies we have now. And, I think we had at one point 9 of the state team in our side at the time, and playing with
that would have been tough for everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Being able to play with people like Luke Kendall and Luke Spencer Gardner and Chris Cameron, who had great careers themselves in the NBL and abroad. So, to be able to walk out on the floor and be the guy that's got to carry the ball for those guys was pretty good fun. And I guess that was probably a high point at that point. Playing overseas and being able to play in England and going over to these states and playing out in Washington and places like that. So I think, the game has kind of given me lots of little opportunities and lots of little highs along the way. But yeah, I think my earliest greatest success was probably going to Box Hill, but that's purely because I just knew the caliber of the players that were playing there. And I certainly am very proud to have, my senior year there to walk away as the MVP of that program for my senior year was certainly something I really cherished, just because I just knew the level of player that had come out of that program and that I'm still friends with now. And the program means a lot to me.
Very nice. Now, us older guys, we all had that moment. Yes. When did you know playing days were?
Oh, yeah, I was, I think I'd gone to England and I'd played, and I'd enjoyed the season, but I was starting to come down the levels a little bit in their national league. And I think it was, my girlfriend at the time, actually, so it would have been my fiance at the time, had come over. And I think it was sort of, I'm really a little bit tired of chasing this. I think I just want to go and live a little. And I guess my whole life had been surrounded about being an athlete for a period of time. And so, yeah, I think that was probably the moment. I went and got a really crummy cubicle desk job and went out and enjoyed myself a lot because I'm good at doing that too. And yeah, I think that was it. But I don't.
You've been on the road, I know.
I enjoy myself. I can get out there. But I think I think it was just a natural progression. I just kind of felt that. Yeah, I didn't really have the desire to keep pounding away at playing at a professional level or even a semi-professional level, and felt like that was the good opportunity for me to take my learnings and potentially put them into coaching.
Speaking of coaching, do you have anything that you took from Ross Clark back in the day that you still use in your coaching nowadays?
Certainly not. If he's listening to this, certainly not the flex offense, because we flexed it to death with Ross Clark. Ross Clark is a person that is still on my phone. I probably don't text him enough, so I do apologise, Ross. But he definitely is a person that is really close to me. And certainly when I started becoming a head coach in the state leagues, I would send him text messages about issues I was having, and he would always reply back. But Ross taught me to be tough. Like, he just taught me to be a tough guy. And I don't think I lacked any toughness, but I guess he taught me how to channel that toughness in the right places at the right time, at the right moment.
Yep.
And I had a lot of respect for Ross. He certainly was a figure of great importance in my early parts in under 18s, under 20s. And the Clark family is his brother Glenn was still staying in touch with as well. And so, yeah, the Clarks are really, really important part of my basketball journey for sure.
Alrighty. Now this next question was actually sent in to us by, a bit of a.
I didn't realise we were getting. Oh, when did this happen? I would have sent something myself. Actually,
we've got connections out there.
I know you do. That's the concerning part.
We do some research.
You brought out Ross Clark. I'm trying to think how deep we can go.
So, how your ideas and approaches to the game is different now than the young aspiring coach that took the head coaching gig of the Whittlesea Pacers women's Big V team.
That was a disaster. That was an absolute disaster. I was young and completely dumb. It fell in my lap because of just a great look. Let me start here with this one because I'll try not to yarn too long. But the one thing I love about the semi-professional level of basketball or any sport, I've been involved in rugby as well, is it essentially semi-professional sport in its essence is full of flawed geniuses, right? Because there's a reason why you're here and not there, right? You're either a little bit too small, not fast enough, not quick enough, maybe not smart enough, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's the wild west of any sport is the semi-professional level. And that is the beauty of it. But essentially the head coach quit, I think, because of like some poorly handed out sandwiches at a post-match function from what I can remember that he was offended by, which left me, the completely green assistant coach, to be told, you should take this by the president of the club. Here's a wad of cash that what I would have been 21 maybe. Mm-hmm. Here's a wad of cash at 21, of which my playing crew had never provided me before. It wasn't that much. And when I say a wad of cash, it probably would have been like, I don't know, $100 in $5 bills. But it still impressed me. And I said, yes, let's do this. Yes. What did I learn from that? I learned that you need to know when you're ready. And I learned that just because you think you're ready, you aren't necessarily ready. And I always feel, and it's something over the course of my time, that I really do believe that, your path reveals itself. I think when you put in the work in anything, your path is revealed to you. I don't think you can, yes, there's an element where, you can go out and you can blaze your own trail. And I certainly believe of that in the sense of non-traditional areas. But I just think there's an element to it where I think your path reveals itself as you go through and you do the work. And certainly there I was trying to blaze a trail for a path that I hadn't earned. And so I've certainly learned that along my coaching journey that, look, you do the work and you learn as you go along and the path will reveal itself to you.
All right. Well, speaking of your path to being on the couch here in the studio, and not always on the way up to get here, are they?
No, it's not. It's left and right, all sorts of it. It's a bit like my basketball career, actually. Well, a lot of left and right.
Same with mine, mate. I'm here for a reason. Not tall enough, not smart enough.
It wasn't directed at you, even though I was looking.
No, but it resonated.
Yeah.
Next question. So can you talk about the big impact you had with the Ivanhoe Knights and the Ivanhoe, the Ivanhoe Way? Because a very special person out there definitely felt that you made a big change there and felt like things turned around.
Yeah, what a great place and what a great opportunity they offered me as well. The end of COVID, I haven't got a job. And, they opened that up and said, yep, here it is. And I think over the course of the time in my coaching, I put together quite a hefty number of notebooks of what I would do if I could start something from scratch. And they were essentially starting from scratch. And I think their faith in me was incredible. But also their ability to say, you know what, if it sounds right, we should do it. And, I sort of learned a great line from one of the administrators there that, you can't break a basketball club. You can if you're doing things with the right frame of mind, with the right authenticity, you can't actually break it. Yeah, you can make some errors and fail along the way, but you'll never break the club. And so it just gave me an opportunity to really build something from the ground up. And starting with our Aussie Hoops program, we reevaluated how we ran those sessions. We took them from an hour down to 45 to make them more manageable for the kids that are involved. We changed the structure of them, more coaches per player ratios, things like that. And then we just looked at how we evaluated players. We did that more. So I sort of took my learnings from a professional basketball background and put them into a junior program, but did them without looking for any personal gain. And, my kids were involved, but not directly involved. And there was really no need for me. It's not like I'm trying to promote my kid to be better or those sort of things, which we know happen at that sort of level. And so I was able to look at everything with a really clear eye. And I really wanted to build a club that represented a lot of like the places I played in the US, where it was a real community club and everybody knows the coach and everybody knows the players and the coach knows everyone's name. And that was really, really important to me. And I spent a lot of time about that. And I was really proud to grow that club. We went from 600 kids. I think we ended up doubling the number to 1,200, 1,300. But it was
double, yes, well done.
Yeah, that's
Math
double.
checks.
Yes, that checks out. And to walk away from that in 3 years with USA tours, and we'd gone to Singapore, we took teams to Adelaide, and we had kids that have represented their state and recently represent Australia in the under 15s. Like, that was just incredible, considering what our club was to begin with, and what it became was just a bigger version of a big community. And so, absolutely, I have no idea who that person sent it in, but I have a very soft spot for that place, and I certainly wouldn't have achieved a near of what I've achieved now without the learnings that I took from that.
All right. Well, this next question might narrow it down for you. Who is your favourite former Diamond Valley athlete turned professional women's coach?
Yes, Mark. Fantastic. Mark and I crossed paths at Diamond Valley, and he's been a great sounding board. I don't know whether I offer him that much in the other way around, but he's a great sounding board and just a really astute individual.
And always willing to share too.
I love sharing game, and I think that's so important.
Yeah,
absolutely.
17-0.
Yes. What a team.
What a team. Tell me about it.
Tell
everyone about it.
Yeah. RMIT University, Division 2. We had players that should never have been in that division. We recruited and walked into a great situation anyway, post-COVID with that organisation, and then led by Steve Coffey, who's still one of my all-time favourite imports I've coached and been involved in. And we just had a great team, down from Daniel Steen, who'd come down, who'd played at Knox previously, and Pakenham had come down from what was Siebel back then, and now he's playing Division 2. Lou Agon, who, the kid's got such a great future whenever he wants to do it at, the most mobile 7-footer I've ever seen. Just a great shot blocker, and Ben, Barlow. We just had such a great team and a great side, but they were so hungry. And I always loved the fact that we were 17-0, and I don't remember one week where I felt like we were practicing like we were 11-0. It just felt super competitive every single time we went on the floor. We might have already played this team that we walloped earlier in the season, and it was like we were as locked in as if it was the first time we were playing them. But I think a lot of that came from the structures we put in place, the accountability we put in place amongst our players. And, for me, it was also about giving them a lot of ownership as players into what we were doing. It wasn't just about, this is how I want to defend it, this is how I want to do things. It was a lot of discussions, a lot of talking, and making sure that we were communicating consistently. And, people like Steve Coffey and J.R. Smith and those sort of people were just, great sounding boards all the way through that season. So, I loved it. It was just a shame that COVID meant that it's technically an unofficial premiership that I never, ever get to really share. Steve does tell me that it counts. So I'll believe Steve on that one. But 17-0, it was incredible.
Yeah, asterisks aren't real.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, and RMIT as a university, right, is a great product. We had a great facility with weights, and we were very unique to that level of basketball in the way we operated. Again, taking learnings that I had from an NBL1 perspective and putting them in at a lower division with a group that really wants to buy into it. And that gave me plenty of airtime as a coach too, right? Like, those players had lots of success, and I certainly got a lot of success from it myself with opportunities from it. So,
all right. Now, from the last NBL1 North season, one of my favourite memories, as we talked about before recording, that Rocky game, Capitals hadn't won a game up until that point.
Scary.
Wizards come out first half in the box seat, let them back in. It was all over.
Yeah.
On the road with Mackay, they were very good.
They were very good.
They were very good. But that Rocky game, obviously, Sam Mack.
Yeah.
Just held the ball, 3 hands, didn't matter. Didn't matter. Goes down the other end, effectively gets a steal by the takeaway. I think Hadley ended up with it in his hand, so he technically get it. But smack down, goes down the other end. I got this.
Yep.
Lights out. Boom. Game. Done. Still my only knock on that whole situation there by Smack was he left, 0.4, 0.5. This
There's a little
tiny,
bit of things left.
like,
It's just enough to be concerned. Yeah.
But of course, they miss, but the thing that I really took away, besides the Smack just holding until everyone was out of the way and stopping in midair, was the way you were just riding every moment. Like, your emotion was right there with the players. Has that always, have you always been locked in no matter what seat you're in as the assistant coach in that sense? Because, you jumped higher than anyone else. So I was like, hang on, are we going to see him next week? Like, what's
Yeah, I love it. Like, I'm not going to lie about that. I love basketball. I love the connection that I get from the game. And I'm always of the opinion that a great assistant coach first aim is to be beneficial, more than anything else, before worrying about what their career looks like post being an assistant. It's where can I be of benefit? And so by doing that, you open yourself up to the players to be of benefit. And then I think consequently from that, by being a bit of benefit to people, you become more connected to those people, and so from that, then there's more passion to see them succeed. And I'm a passionate person. I'll sometimes it can probably get me in a bit of trouble, but sometimes it probably is amusing for people like yourself on the sideline. But no, look, I'm all in on it, and I think that's important too, right? And likewise, I'm also not the sort of person that I'm going to feel the opposite way too. Like, I also, I understand when a player is not at their best or they're not having a great time, because again, I'm connected emotionally to the team, not just for hey, this is great because we're winning and it makes me look great. I'm connected on both sides. But that passion's always been there. I'm a competitive person, and coaching allows me to continue that. But the players bring it out of me every time. I get it out of me every time.
It was a heck of a squad this year.
Yes.
Let's be honest, it was. Mackay, turns out, had a slightly better one. The history books will show.
Yes, unfortunately. But they deserved every part of it, right? Like, that was such a great team. And, Blanchfield in that game too, there wasn't too much. We tried our best. We were definitely burning the midnight oil after game one as a coaching staff. And it wasn't to watch the Olympics. It was to genuinely watch the game back and try to come up with something that was going to help us to get over the hump for game two. But Mackay just proved just such a strong unit over our strong unit, and we just didn't have our best that day.
No, but that's all right. That's the way seasons go. Not everyone can win, and
Great journey.
Yeah, indeed. One of those players, Matty Johns.
Yep.
Since, obviously he's been now at the Capitals a couple of years. Hopefully will be for a couple more. But he's really had, quite a change. It feels like he's, from, someone who obviously goes to a lot of Capitals games. He's really shown some growth, and, you've seen a lot of that along the little journey. He just puts in the work, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't texted me tonight to ask when we're shooting. No, we're shooting around tomorrow morning. So, look, he's a very consistent worker. I'm proud that I'm the person he texts. I think I take that as a compliment, that's who he wants to have involved with him. And I think that's, for me, any time that happens, it's not a, hey, look at me. It's actually, no, that's great. That's a thank you. So I really, really appreciate that from Matty. And I know that we sort of both kind of work well together as player and coach. He's the sort of person that has all the tools. It's just about using the right one at the right moment. And I think that for me is a lot of it. It's not the sort of person I'm coaching because there's something broken. There's nothing broken about Matt at all. It's just a matter of him finding his opportunity, and I think that's definitely coming. I was surprised he didn't have further opportunities this season, but then he took on this 3-on-3, and which is always going to be a great game for a guy of his ability.
Yes,
athletic, can get his head on the rim, can shoot the 3 ball, like can handle the ball pretty comfortably against smaller guards. Like, yeah, I'm really proud. I'm really proud of him. I'm proud of the steps he took throughout the journey of last season, and I'm really stoked for the steps and what he's achieved in the off season from a 3-on-3 perspective. I think he flies out with Kim Sung and a few of the guys from our crew out to Vietnam to play and continue to be on the world tour and that sort of stuff from a 3-on-3 perspective. So yeah, Matty's he's a great human being as well, like another just genuinely awesome human being that I'm glad I've been able to be of benefit to through the season. But also I learned a lot from Matt. Like I learned a lot from him sitting and talking to him, and yeah, I'm hoping he'll have another leap again. I'm envisioning another leap again from him. Which is incredible.
I'm all in for that.
Which is incredible to think about, right? Yeah. Like you thinking about you've seen him more than I have. Certainly, I knew of him from Victoria, but you've seen more of his journey up here. And for you to say that's what happened this season, well, you know, I don't want to set expectations from, but I feel like there's more from him for sure.
Yeah, and I know it's not quite the same, but just an explosive elite summer league grand final, 40+ points, just put on a show.
He did, yeah.
There was some, smaller defenders and other things out there, but he just lit the place up. Absolutely lit the place up.
It was worth the drive out for me anyway, and obviously I bumped into yourself and Jade. Sitting there courtside and seeing the way he goes about it. I think that was really important. I was pleased to see him get at it.
All right. And look, can't let you get out of here without talking about the time you recently spent down in Sydney with the Kings and, of course, the man Vickerman as well.
Yep.
But, the human blue tongue that is Gorge always has that thing just hanging out.
Yep.
But, what were some of the insights? What was the time like? Because obviously –
really great opportunity to go down there and spend a week with the Sydney Kings and look, the Gorgians. I played under his brother Kevin and was involved with Brian at a junior level from a training squad player and to be able to get that close to that program was really, really impressive. But also actually the thing I really enjoyed was we got to go down to Illawarra. I got to see Illawarra there shoot around. I got to see the Jack Jumpers in there shoot around and catch up with Jack Fleming, another fantastic Box Hill grad, and then we got to go and see obviously Melbourne United and be involved in chatting to Dean and Jacob Chance, which is another great basketball mind. But the one
Asia
thing,
Cup Boomers coach,
coach, absolutely right. And we know we've got some vacancies floating around. Like surely that's a name that's on that list. But the one thing I took away from that week though, having seen all those teams, is they're all teams that win. They're all winners, by rights, regardless of where they finish on the ladder. They're all coaches with wins under their belts, championships, seasons, those type of things. And I love the fact that they were all very different. The way Brian conducts himself in a practice is very different to a Vickerman, which is very different to a Scott Roth, and then very different to a Tatum. Like, they're all very, very different and unique in their own style, yet their teams are all very successful or have coached successful teams in the past. And I think that for me was not so much an eye-opener because I think I've always been and understood that, but it's interesting because I think we get caught up in that there's one way to win. And this is the most popular way right now to win, and I think as coaches, we look at that a lot and I know certainly being a person that has coached coaches, that we look at it and go, oh yeah, well, this is what's in flavor at the moment. This is what wins in basketball for the next 10 years. Let's all run the flow offense. Let's all full court press, or let's all tag up like Fernie and those type of things. And I think you always have to be, astute tactically and technically, but you've got to be authentic. Like you've got to be authentic as a coach, and you've got to be authentic in the way that you want to win, the way that you want to see your team. Obviously, that's easy to pro level in a sense because you can pick your own team. But, I think authenticity is just really, really important as a coach. And I think sometimes younger coaches or less experienced coaches get caught up in that I need to be like X.
Yep.
And for me, it just really solidified that in my mind of like, here's 4 fantastic coaches and you know what, their style is their style. And so I can continue to, I'm always going to take things from my head coach and the people that have taught me, but I can grow from their style too.
All right. Now, former members of Box Hill, you are Box Hill Secondary.
Yes.
You are, of course, one. There is also a fairly famous one going around in NBA circles.
Yep.
At the moment, who obviously, Mr. Simmons and Brooklyn came together and decided, you know what, let's go our separate ways and buy out. And then he's re-signed, of course, with the Clippers. I believe it's 1.8-ish, 1.6, around that mark. And I couldn't help but notice almost the same day, of course, former Brisbane Bullet, Torrey Craig, been around the league, been around, of course, this league, it's still a couple of different teams, and then has gone over the NBA, got a couple of different spots. Open discussion sort of question, very similar price contracts, rest of the season. Let's ignore the buyout money. Just can't help but think, I was left sort of thinking, ooh, which one of those, if you were a fan, would you feel safer, more comfortable with?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm probably the worst person. I'd be the horrible GM. That's why I'm happy to stay coaching. I'm just going to continue my path this way for now. But I think I've made so many wild predictions over a couple of schooners that have never, ever, they sounded fantastic in theory and have just dive bombed on me. But
I guess I don't say them into schooners. I say them into microphones.
Yeah, that's
and they're out there.
Yeah, yours are recorded. I make sure mine are not. Yeah, I think. Look, it's always. I think it's eternal hope, isn't it? Right? Like I think you always have eternal hope in a player, and I can relate that to coaching. Like you get a kid, and this coach says, "Nah, I've nothing to do with him," and I don't know. I certainly always have eternal hope. I've certainly have coached those kids in the past where it's like, look, we don't want anything to do with him. And then 4 months later, everyone's like, wow, like that's something else. Like, I can't believe we discarded him, or, I can't believe we didn't see that potential in him, or whatever it is. And, I think that's the Clippers model, obviously, is that the eternal hope. Who's going to be more productive? I reckon they probably almost cancel each other out. Like if that's the worst answer for some you want some conversation. But like I think Torrey Craig has every opportunity to be a productive player, as does Ben Simmons. But I think there's more chance that Torrey Craig gets injured or steps away. There's a chance that obviously Ben Simmons could also get injured because we know he has that capability to be mystery illnesses. But I think they cancel each other out. I think at the end of the day, Ben gets you. There's more excitement from your fans for that sort of contract size than there is for Torrey Craig, and he's in La La Land, and like Ben Simmons sells seats. Like, and let's face it, that's what the NBA is all about.
Yeah, I think for Mind. Especially when there was talk that Ben Simmons was very much potential to be traded to my Celtics. I was like, a little part of me really likes that, and that eternal hope thing of, is this the turnaround that he needs to then get in a Boomers uniform, all that kind of stuff. And then when obviously he signed with the Clippers, it's like, well, that reunites him with Patty. You never know.
Well, exactly.
But Torrey Craig, very happy with that as a Celtics signer.
Cool.
Obviously, talent-wise, ceilings. If we're going to do it on ceilings, Simmons, sure.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
But I feel just safe as houses with the Celtics going down that road, because Torrey Craig's built that, that body of work. He's going to give you everything. He's going to play whatever role he needs to. That sort of thing.
The Clippers are not the Celtics now, though, right? And I think that's the difference, right? The Celtics are looking for a steady rudder, and they don't need anything flash at the moment. I mean, this is your Celtics that had Walton, running on the end of the bench back in the days. So you weren't shy of taking someone that had a suspect,
broken leg, basically.
Or suspect
nothing
player.
was attached.
Nothing was attached, exactly. Held together with duct tape.
And Grateful Dead albums.
The Grateful Dead albums, exactly.
But
no, I think it's actually a good fit for both. I think the swap the other way around, like you said, I think is then your eyebrows up. You're like, why do the Celtics need a Ben Simmons? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then like vice versa, what do the Clippers need from Torrey Craig? You know, whereas I think where they are, yes, they're similar contracts, but I think the fit makes sense in the cities they're in and the capability of those teams.
We'll hold out eternal hope.
Of course, always. I mean, we have to. I mean, that's all we have at the moment. Without going too down, I'm not going to have too much of a dark rabbit hole, but that is all we have. Is hope.
And it's that time of the year again where the Kyrie Irving hope questions, they're out there. And look,
I love it. I love it every time.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
And those, potential lineups.
Yep.
As a Boomer fan who's going to watch every game no matter what.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, the Australian media needs this. We need the Kyrie Irving conversation every 6 months. Is it like
pretty much?
It's every 6 months.
And the NBL season is just coming to an end. Like things are a little bit slow.
It's like that random expansion team. Like we need that chat all the time. Like we just need it. Like,
is it Darwin? Is it Gold Coast?
It's Canberra Cannons every day of the week. Like we need the Canberra Cannons conversation on a 6 month cycle. That they will finally
Newcastle Falcons.
I'd love to see the Falcons back in. Absolutely, I'd love to see the Falcons back in. But yeah, we need that conversation and the Kyrie Irving one on a regular rotation.
All right. Well, speaking of NBL, fairly quickly, but down to the Final Four.
Yes.
Who's your prediction? Who's taking home the chip?
Yep.
I'm going to write. Just going to write.
Write it down.
Going to write it down now, just in case you say mine first.
Good. All right. I think the Illawarra Phoenix will be. I think it'll be spicy. I think Phoenix has the ability to be spicy. I don't think they've got enough in them to beat Illawarra, but Illawarra have the ability to drop games they shouldn't drop, and they did that with Cairns. So I think they've got that in them, but they do have a lot of firepower, and I think over a series they win that. I just think Melbourne United are set for it. I just think they've got a great veteran group. They've got guys that know how to win. They've got a coaching lineup that really understands each other really well. And just obviously having had the opportunities, not just this season, but in past, to be probably pretty close and see what goes on there a little bit more. Being from Melbourne myself, like I think, I just feel like they're the team over the course of a series that just makes great adjustments. And I think Vickerman's he's just good at that. Like he is great at making adjustments. Likewise, I think Tatum is fantastic at letting his guys play. So I think that grand final series, hopefully, of Illawarra and Melbourne United, I think it'll be a cracker because it's got two really great groups.
Yeah, look, I feel fairly similar, and I've got a little bit of circle around the Hawks.
Yeah, that's fair. I can believe that. Yeah, I'm going to lean that way too. I could come up with an argument for both. I mean, you could, but I like it. I mean, they're the hot team.
Well, Carlu wins everything, mate. Like he's been on a heck of a streak, but
I love Carlo. If he's listening, I love him. He's a great guy.
Hey, you ball guys got to stick together, man.
We got to stay tight. We all have the same barber, ourselves. That's the way it works.
It is time. Not quite for Crackem. We'll get there.
Yeah, good.
Let's get into a little bit of who's that teammate / team member when it's coaching staff. So basically the way it works is I'll give you 3 clues. If you get it on the first one,
all right.
That's 3 points.
Yeah.
2 points, 1 point. In theory, they get easier.
Yeah, right.
I try to set them up that way, but these are all guys from last year's Brisbane Capitals NBL1 team. So in theory, gettable. If you're allowed to give have a crack at it, but you get 1 crack per clue.
Okay, fine.
And then
let's do it.
All right. First player, going to go with Viking Heritage. Viking Heritage is your clue.
Matt Johns.
All right, moving on. Now sometimes they're cryptic, sometimes they're personal history, all sorts. All right, second one. Ganik McCark. Ganik McCark.
No. Next.
Okay. Triple figure player. Triple figure player.
Is this the next level down of questioning here, or am I still on the same player?
No. This is third. You're on the third tier now for 1 point.
It's not really. That's. I thought you said they were getting easier.
Yeah, triple figure player. Games played.
Oh, okay. There's a couple there though. I'm going to say that'd be Ant because he has played a lot of games. But
It is Ant. Viking heritage, played for the Grafton Vikings back in the day with myself.
Okay.
Gnick McCark is Crackem King. Spelled backwards.
Okay. Yeah.
And, of course, triple figure player. Games played. He is the current high leader. Hopefully we can get him to 250 before,
Yeah, we'll do
Father Time knocks on the door.
We'll roll him out there.
All right. Let's go. Player 2. So 1 point. 1 point thus far.
All
right. Player 2. Nana.
Okay.
Nana.
Yeah, I'll go next one.
I'll go previous Vandy connection. Previous Vandy connection.
Can I say, was this a player that played for this season or was just on our roster?
That is a great question. Unfortunately, I'm unable to answer those questions as you go. But
Nana and then previous Vandy player, like it's not TD, is it? Like
it is.
Yeah.
Well done. So 2 points. 2 points.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Connection, yep.
Okay, see.
Yeah. All right,
Clues are there. The clues are there.
I'm working it.
All right, player number 3. Let's go with former NBL1 champ. Former NBL1 champ.
On our roster. Oh, well, it would have been Sam McDaniel. No.
Sam McDaniel was.
Yeah.
Hobart Chargers.
Hobart Chargers.
Yeah.
That was an eternal franchise. Great. Well, no, the Chargers weren't. No, so I'm thinking the Huskies, actually. Great logo.
All right. Hey, that's 3. So you're up to 6 points.
I'm doing all right here.
Good news is you're the first one this year. You will take number 1 spot on the leaderboard.
Oh, this is the sort of clubhouse leaderboard I want to be involved in. Because I tell you what, anybody that's listening to this won't want to do this. So I'm possibly.
Possibly. All right. Number 4, fourth and final player. Here we go. 50, 39, 82% shooter.
Gabe Hadley.
No.
Oh.
Has played with his brother at NBL1 level. Clue number 2.
Okay. Hold on. I do this, bro.
At the NBL1 level.
Easy Twitter.
Easy Tueta it is for 2 points. Okay.
Yeah.
Jared Tueta at
Jared
Rip Titty.
Yeah. Still Rip Twitty.
All right. Hey.
Not a bad run.
Not bad. Not bad.
Just a single one in there.
And that was the hardest one of the lot. Let's
started with the first one first. It just as hard. No, I liked it. It's good.
Good. So we'll put you up on the leaderboard with 8 points. 8 points from a possible 12.
I'll take that.
I mean, that's pretty good. Pretty good start. Pretty good start. There were some pauses in there, but, that's all good.
I didn't realise I had to sing that. I got a quick fire round.
Hey, well, if someone gets 8, if someone else gets 8, we've got to go back to the, time-wise.
No, you don't. You just pull the cord out and pretend it didn't happen. Sorry, mate. The recording didn't work. Unfortunately.
Yeah, just like your microphones just jumped out.
Just my mic.
Problem solved.
Problem solved.
All right. Now, we do have a couple of special guests who want to jump in for this
some
one.
Special guests for the Crackem. So
for the local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackem.
Yep. Come in under here.
You're all good.
Lolo, jump in under next to Zar. Otherwise, you're not going to get in.
All good.
Under the
Come on under. Yep.
That's it. Good one.
Squeeze in. All right. For those playing at home, we've got some Panini Prisms. It's a pack of 2021-2022 Prisms, 4-pack.
Right now,
here, girls. So let's get it. If you've got something, yell it out. All right. No buzzers. No buzzers. We're just going for it.
This is.
Okay. All right. First card. Oh, I'll give you a clue straight off the bat. Doesn't play there no more. All right, here we go. Now, I'll read the back of the card. Whenever I get to the player's name, I'll say somebody. But, girls, if you think you know who it is, yell it out. Yell it into the mic, and we'll see how we go.
Okay.
All right. You know what you're getting on a nightly basis from somebody. Energy, 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 and more energy. Also, you're getting buckets, dimes, boards, and steals, and lots of them. In 2020, 2021, he averaged 21.5 points, 7.1 assists, 6.9 caroms, and 2.1 swipes. He became the 5th player ever to post such a stat line and the first since Russell Westbrook in 2014-2015. Miami Heat at the time. Miami Heat at the time. No longer there.
Oh.
Traded recently. Very recently.
Yell it in. I reckon it's Jimmy Butler we'll go for.
Jimmy Butler it is.
Yeah,
great job.
Look at that.
All right. Okay. We're continuing on the theme of he ain't there no more.
Wow. Yep.
Literally in this trade deadline. So here we go. Card 2 for local Card Shop of Woolloongabba.
Yeah.
Somebody was selected for the Chicago Bulls to his first All-Star game in 2021. In his final game before the break, he showed why. Against New Orleans on March 3, he scored 36 points on 12 of 19 shooting and dished out 8 assists in a win. It was 14 35-plus performances he had for the season. No longer there. Number 8. Probably would have seen his jersey here in Australia and run around different people.
Cyclothing.
Is the microphone?
Into the microphone. In the microphone.
Cyclothing.
Yeah. Great job. You got it.
Nailed it.
All righty. Okay. New York Knicks.
New York Knicks.
Number 30. Somebody came in the league as a left-hand dominant scorer who poured in the points by using his brute strength to play bully ball. The forward has since rounded out his game, becoming a versatile bucket getter with a deep bag of moves in the 7th season. 2020-2021, the swingman tallied a career-best 24.1 points.
Oh, that's a shocker with New York basketball.
And was most improved as well one season.
The only one I can think of is Julius Randle.
Julius Randle it is.
Couldn't remember what jersey number it was off the top of my head. I was sort of was losing it there.
Oh, we might need to put this one in a card safe. It's a rookie card.
We've got a rookie card coming up. All right,
and it is a rookie card that people will actually know. He's not in Europe yet.
Okay.
He's,
okay.
For the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh. Undrafted out of the University of Oklahoma.
Austin Reeves.
That'll do it, folks. Done and dusted, mate. Austin Reeves, there he is in all his shiny rookie card glory.
So shiny.
So shiny.
Oh, he loves a shiny card.
There we go. All right, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Girls, thanks for the assist. Clearly, Dad couldn't have done it without you. But that will wrap us up here this evening, mate. Oh, that was it. There is only one thing we have left to talk about before we wrap it up, though.
Yep.
Mate, Elam ending.
Elam ending.
Yes.
Yep. Excited. We're the first competition in Australia to use it from a league perspective. It has been used in a tournament perspective in Adelaide before, but we're using it. Well, I guess we're test riding it in our under 23s in our GBL competition. Yep. I'm really stoked that we've been able to do something different. I think that's always been a hallmark of myself, is to be different. Taking a line from our friend Mark Alavac, we want to, we don't have to always zig, we can zag as well.
Yep.
I think it's been going really well. We're about 3 rounds in now. The thing I have enjoyed about it is, one, I think it encourages finishing because you've got to close the game out.
Yep.
You can't just play some bad offense to finish even a blowout game. You've got to score to finish, which I think is great for our under 23 age group at that level. I like it from an official's point of view because I think there's less impetus on them making a foul call at the back end of a game. So I think it takes a little bit of heat off our officials too, and I think that's important. But the one thing I've enjoyed watching it a little bit is actually just seeing how our coaches adjust to it. Again, putting my coach's hat on, I've seen coaches play a little zone. I've seen coaches come out and try and knock down threes really quickly and finish because it's an 8-point requirement. And then I've seen coaches who have come out of that forced timeout and just pressed when they haven't pressed at all game. So I've enjoyed seeing the different dynamics of how teams get around the requirement of the 8 points. Not a massive sample size at the moment, but look, it's encouraging, and it's not something that we want to do from a Brisbane basketball perspective on everything and change everything and throw everything out the window. But I think players want variety. Players want, that's why they go and play 3-on-3. That's why they go and play in things like the Summer Jam and things like that. It's because it's a different environment, and I thought it was a good opportunity with our 23s to really test something out and see how it goes. And so far so good. So I'm proud. I'm proud of our officials for taking it on so well, and I'm proud of our clubs for getting behind it as well. And
love it when it's not the just good old fashioned hacker shack style ending.
Correct. Yeah.
I
agree.
One of my favorite, good mate of mine, but smart coach has always hated it because of how rarely it works. But it's the thing that everyone always goes to.
Yeah.
And yet once you're behind by more than 2 baskets, the chances of actually coming back are just so minute. Every single, coach, because there's no, with the rules of our game, apart from just rolling the dice and going for it, like
that's it. Yeah, I agree. It just turns into a free throw contest, right? Like, regardless, and as you said,
practice your free throws, kids.
Yeah, that's it. Great, get in there. But it is. Yeah, I'm enjoying watching it when I've caught a couple of games, and I also think too we certainly have some blowouts in that competition at times too because of the disparity, and we don't need another 4 minutes of a 30-point blowout. Like, go and finish them, as they say, Sparta style, and just, get it done. And I think that's important. But a funny fact, for finish up on that subject, is we take away the last 4 minutes, and there was a really great concern of, like, kids are going to lose playing time, the game will be over so quick. Well, it's averaging about 4.5 minutes for them to score 8 points. So it's less stoppages. We're not really losing that much more game time. And there's more flow to it, and like I said, there's less fouls, so the game's just up and down, up and down, up and down. So it's been really awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Awesome, mate. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
And opening up. And look, I'm sure we'll see you on the sidelines with all of that energy again this season.
Thanks,
but look, should be great. And look, obviously, long-time Caps fan.
Yes.
And been to all of their home games
for
the last 4 years. Want to see them both do well, and definitely watch this space because there's some potentially really interesting stuff coming for this NBL1 North season.
I agree
on both sides, men and
I was going to say that. I think we're really building something. But look, a massive thank you, and I think as I said before about my comment about semi-professional sport and the flawed geniuses that are amongst it. It's things like this that are just really important that underpin that community as well. And so I think it's amazing you've got this great forum here, and I know I've certainly been involved in similar forums in Melbourne, and so it's awesome, and I really, really appreciate the time, and hopefully that was amusing. Hopefully that wasn't not a bit more serious when it needed to be. But
the internet will always tell you, mate. Don't worry.
I look forward to but I love the detail, the questions, and look, just thanks for real raps, Mal. Appreciate all your time.
No worries. Thank you. All right, that will wrap us up here for another episode. We're getting ever so closer to that episode 200. A little something in the works for it. We'll do something a little bit special. But thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. If you are listening out there on a podcast service that allows those 5-star reviews, please do go ahead and do that. Don't forget the official beer company. Of course, Podfire Network, and of course, the local card shop of Woolloongabba. But until you're listening to us again, just remember that ball don't lie.